What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mr. Straight Facts Show. I am Mr. Straight Facts. Thank you for coming back. Yesterday I couldn't make it. I apologize. Your boy was a bit under the weather, and when I mean by a bit under the weather, I was drained. I had no energy. I literally was like just sitting here falling asleep. I said, I can't do it. Can't do it. I'll be sitting here knocked out while I'm talking. Couldn't have it. I had to get some rest. So I got some rest, and today we're back. There are some things that we need to go over. Of course, there's a lot in the news. I made a video earlier today, and I got people saying, it's been debunked. Now, if you know what I'm talking about, it is earlier today. A trove of Epstein but documentation and files were released, and amongst them was I wouldn't say a postcard, more like a Hallmark card. That's a brand, but that type of card was released. And it was one that Donald Trump didn't want to release. They wanted to take it back, but it was basically saying, and I got that particular, let's just go over it real quick so I can give you a visual of it. All right. And later, DOJ, it's kind of shady how it goes about, but we'll talk about it. Let's get it. What's up, Mark? I see you, Gun Totem Lefty. I see you, Vera. Let's get it in real quick. Now, this document was released today. Now, it basically talks about LN, and I guess it was the guy, Larry Nasser or whatever the heck his name was. But as you read it, you'll see that it's talking about, basically, it's kind of like a farewell letter from, supposed to be Jeffrey Epstein, saying, that, he took the short route and mentioned about Donald Trump later on in it, saying that our president, because it didn't say Trump, it just said our president, it didn't get flagged in the 200 FBI agents who were looking for Donald Trump's name, not president, but his name, and therefore this snuck through. Now, this document, which many news organizations after the DOJ realized it was there, they're like, oh shit. They end up going and saying they're going to look at it. They looked at it. 2 hours later, I don't know what investigation happens in 2 hours. I just don't. I mean, you just got like a person who looks at documents and then looks at other things and you get them into an office or a room or a meeting within 2 hours to come up with something. No, you've had it this long. The last administration had it that long. You would have some kind of documentation that literally says that this document, no, it was not good or was fake. You would have that already documented. Yet it wasn't documented under Merrick Garland. It wasn't documented as fake under Donald Trump. It was documented after they found Trump's name in it, and it basically told you he likes nubile girls. That's when it goes down and comes back up or whatever and says, oh, it's fake 2 hours later. It doesn't match his address. It doesn't match his address. Doesn't match his signature. Where is his signature? All day I've been looking for this man's signature. Where is his handwriting? All these documents have him writing notes. That's not in cursive. This is actually in cursive. Where's his in cursive handwriting at? I haven't seen it all day. I've been looking for it. I'm just saying. You would think they would have put, one side by side and let America say, you're transparent, right? So give us a handwriting sample of Jeffrey Epstein in cursive, and then a handwriting sample that we got to discard in cursive, and let us just match it up with our own eyes. Okay? But they didn't do that. They weren't that transparent. They took it, looked at it, came back in 2 hours. Oh, this is fake. Was there a documentation where they had ruled it out fake under the investigation? No, there wasn't. Because if there were, you would have been able to give us that and say, oh, these are the notes of the investigators. They found it to be fake. They did not. They just came out and said it was fake. And therefore the news started rolling with it's fake. And I was like, well, you got to do more than that for me. Because what do you think you're going to come out and say it was valid? The DOJ was just going to say it was valid? Where is the paper trail that you found out it was fake? I don't want to just hear you saying it. I don't trust the DOJ. I don't want to hear you just saying it. You need to prove it to me. So their reasoning that they said this was fake, as you can see, they talked about it was stamped 3 days after he was dead. What's that got to do with anything? What's that got to do with anything? I can say, oh, he was dead, so he couldn't have sent it. That really doesn't hold water. If I sent something on Tuesday, well, not Tuesday, this is Tuesday right now. If I sent something last Friday, and let's say I'm in Cali, I'm sending it to New York, it takes 2 to 3 business days. If I die Friday night, it's still gonna get there on Saturday. Now, was it notified that I was, it's kind of out of focus. I'm trying to fix it. Did they notify, like when it got stamped, was it immediately given to the post office that day? Was it? And it was in jail, so would it have went out the exact day? I doubt it. They would have took their time with it. So how is it just being stamped has to do with anything that it wasn't sent by him? They talked about the location. Maybe he got the wrong address. Somebody gave him an address and it was the best he had. He didn't know and wrote it down. That doesn't validate that. That doesn't say that it's invalid, right? Then they said it wasn't his handwriting. And I'm like, so you're telling me in 2 hours you determined that it wasn't his handwriting? You've determined, and wherever you got the match from, you determined that even though the investigation hasn't done that. The entire 2 years, 3 years this man been dead. Well, longer than that, he died in 2019. 6 years, nobody's done that. There's no paper trail of that whatsoever. Right? So you guys did it in 2 hours, and they did it. They've been looking at this thing for 6 years. 2 hours, you figured it out. You just Inspector Caruso, Inspector Gadget. You just figured it the fuck out in 2 hours, and the news just runs with it because they don't want to get sued. Fuck getting sued. I want the truth. Fuck all that sued shit. And I'm not a sheep. I'm not going to listen to Donald Trump and his people tell me without giving me kind of evidence. Oh, that's fake. Of course you say it was fake. Of course you would. Because it automatically puts you as a pedophile. Because once you look up nubile, you find out that there's a word that goes along with the nubile to let you know. It means that it's called menarche, which means a woman's first period, which means around 12 to 16, or 10 to 16 years old. That letter says that Trump, too, likes the same type of women these two men like. And all of a sudden, it's fake. Of course it would, because it would automatically make you a pedophile. So we're supposed to just trust your word. We're supposed to trust news organizations just saying it. No, they got to show this shit. If you have your news, CNN, MSNBC, or MS Now, whatever fuck your name is now, all of y'all, fuck what you say. Put them next to each other. Bring on the woman and the man and tell us, like, this is what we matched and this is what we matched, and those don't match. So obviously it's not him. That's what we want. We want a valid signature of Epstein. Something that is in evidence that it is his handwriting, can be validated. Then we want this document here, and we want you to bring on the man or woman that pictures that shit together and says, okay, the line right here, it goes to the left, this one goes to the right. This person is a right-handed and he was a left-handed. That's when I'll be like, okay, sounds factual to me, but I ain't taking your word for shit. It was in the documentation. There hasn't been anybody to negate it whatsoever, other than to say it's fake. Fuck the DOJ. I said it. Pam Bondi, Trump's DOJ, fuck that shit. Only talk with the facts. Bring it to me, and then I'll believe in it. Bring it to me, and I'll believe in it. Show me the documentation where you matched it, and I'll believe in it. Your word, trash. All of y'all, words, trash, until you bring it to me. You don't. Here's the other thing. For something to be like that, how to get into the files? I mean, where do you just gather this from? Seeing as how it was sent to the wrong prison, how did you get it? I'm trying to figure out, how did you get something that was sent to the wrong prison? And why would it end up in his files and not into Larry Vance's file or Larry Nassar's files? Why do we go to Epstein? It's his file. It was sent to him. Epstein, if you got a copy of it or whatever, or you got the original and then gave a copy to Nasser, whatever, it's in the files. That means you retrieved it. And then once you retrieved it, it's like it's sent to the wrong place, so it's wrong. Maybe you got the wrong address. That doesn't mean it's wrong. It was sent days later after he died. If I mail something today, died today, it arrives 3 days from now. That doesn't mean that I didn't fucking send it. I mean, these are infantile fucking excuses. It's like the dog ate my homework. I'm like, give me some solid understanding of how you gathered this information, because I trust not your words. And then, where did it come from? If you got it from Larry Nassar, where it ended up, the prison took it. Where was the chain of command? What this happened? No information, dude. I am not going to believe anybody until that happens. I'm not hearing it. And all the people out here talking about, well, in the news, fuck the news. I don't care what the news said. They did not validate shit in the public opinion, the public eye rather. They literally just said it. And none of them brought their specialists on to prove it. We are in a factless world right now. And I am sick of people just saying their words. I'm supposed to trust you. Bring the facts. I got a document right here. Do your job to debunk this document for me. Not your words. Bring your experts. Prove it to me. I'm good. Make a story out of it. Make a package out of it. I don't care. Make some content with the expert. That's fine with me. But your words, you got to gain back that trust, news. You got to gain that back. And the only way you're going to get that back is to do that. Little by little, create content to basically justify this. But other than that, this lays on it. This is the truth until proven wrong for me. That's just how I'm going to go with it. Thank you, Woke Mike. Thank you guys for the happy birthdays. So that's the way I feel about it. This right here literally puts Donald Trump as a pedophile amongst Jeffrey Epstein and Larry Nassar or whatever. I'm like, I didn't know who LN was earlier. So there it is. And then you got MAGA. It's crazy. There was, when you look at this, they'll give you an up close. And I think Ari Melber on the beat. This is where he put it up close, because you can't see up close on the side of that postcard, the envelope. It literally has August 13th, 2019. And I guess that's 3 days after he died. I guess he died on the 10th. Again, we all know it takes 3 days to get somewhere. And it also, the fact is that if it's in a jail, it could sit there for a day. You never know when they stamped it or wrote on it. Does it say they wrote on it that person sent it the day they send it, they do it, or the day they put it in the mailbox in jail, it goes. And here's another thing that's again, another part of this process is, the last I checked, and you guys can validate this for me while I'm online, but the last I checked, when someone's in prison, a person in prison can't send a letter to another person in prison. It just doesn't happen. They won't allow that. No matter what, from one prison to another, it's not something that they allow. So somehow this was allowed. Now again, he was a billionaire, and look what they're doing for Ghislaine Maxwell. They probably gave him some kind of special treatment. That could be it. I'm not sure. But the fact here it is: if it wasn't him, who in the hell would send a letter like this? Who did it? I mean, you got a prison locked down, so you could kind of trace that. You got cameras every fucking where. You could trace it. These people literally found a dude that shot and killed people, and he had fucking thing over his face and shit. You couldn't see nothing but his eyes and his cheek, and they found that fool dead though, but they found him. You can't tell me this letter was sent, and the FBI, DOJ, they're oblivious for 6 years on where this came from and how it was traveled and who handled it. They all got stamped things on it. You can go to the person who delivered it. There's only so many male people at the jail. Who handed this to you? It's not hard. It's really not. And especially seeing this how he's a high profile, Jeffrey Epstein. Come on. They know every letter this fool sent out or received. You have no information or education about that for us at all. No information. And we're just supposed to believe your word. I'm not the fool. I'm not boo-boo the fool here. So we ain't going that route. Now, the other part of this is all the responses. I mean, I didn't know the DOJ was Donald Trump or any president's lawyer. I mean, defense team or publicist, because from what happened, Department of Justice sent out this. The FBI has confirmed this alleged letter from Jeffrey Epstein to Larry Nassar to be fake. The fake letter was received by the jail and flagged for the FBI at the time. The FBI made this conclusion based on the following facts. The writing does not appear to match Jeffrey Epstein's. Show us that. The letter was postmarked 3 days after death out of Northern Virginia when he was jailed in New York. Okay. Then whose was it? The return address did not list the jail where Epstein was held and did not include his inmate number. Okay. Whose inmate number did it have? I mean, deeper, yo. If it has somebody else's inmate number, then you got the culprit, but you don't have a culprit. Doesn't seem like you got a culprit. I mean, you got the inmate number. It wasn't his. So who the fuck is this dude that sent this? Could this dude have gotten a call from Jeffrey Epstein to send this letter? Could this have been Jeffrey Epstein saying, hey, man, they might kill me up in this bitch. If I die, send this letter. Is that a far fetch? No, it's not. He was in deep with people who were billionaires. None of them wanted to fall, and he's the only person that has to die for this shit to just fall apart and nobody can do anything about it. Him and Ghislaine Maxwell. So could it not have been? Could it not have been him saying, if I die, send this letter? It could have been. But we don't know because you guys didn't look any deeper than the fact of these superficial, processes. Why would this letter be sent? And if this person sent it, hey, all you got to do is dig. Hit him up. It didn't have his number on it. It had somebody else's because the way you're approaching this to the public is saying when these things go out, they have to have an inmate number on it. So seeing as how you flagged it and it had to have had an inmate number on it, then you got the culprit who fucking sent it. What does he say? Hello? Which is required for outgoing mail. This fake letter serves as a reminder that just because a document is released by the Department of Education does not mean the allegations or claims within the document is factual. Nevertheless, the DOJ will continue to release all material required by law. They think they just button this shit up. No, you didn't, because you just said that it has to have an inmate number. Whose inmate number? And if it didn't have an inmate number, then was it an inmate actually sending it? Because they know they would have to have an inmate number to be able to send it out. And why would a person send something out that they knew they weren't going to be able to send out? Unless they wanted it flagged. And the only way you're going to find out what they wanted that is to ask people in the prison cell, where'd this come from? I don't know how prisons work. I don't know if you have to hand it to a mail person and say, hey, here's my mail today. And the person who comes by the cell and gets your mail, or you do it some other time. I don't know the process. But my question is, where does this information go? And how does that prison work? And if that's the way the prison works, where they hand it to a person, who the hell handed it to him? And how did you flag it? These are the things that are just too simple. This is some easy, like Scooby-Doo type motherfucking investigation. You don't, that ain't hard at all. And I know y'all got forensics and fingernails and stuff like that, and not fingernail, but biometrics and all that. You easily could have found out who the fuck this was. They licked it. You got DNA. Rap. You know who it is in there. Some reason, whoever licked that, you didn't check and see who it was. FBI, with all the information in the world, you dropped the ball on the investigation. Something don't sound good to me. I'm not one to just take somebody's word for shit. You gotta fucking, if I see something, you gotta disprove that shit fully. You just can't be saying, it makes me look bad. It's not good. Nope. That's not gonna work for me. Whose DNA licked that? You got them on file. You got their DNA because they're in prison. Check it and then get back to us. Then we can really you can investigate that person and say, what'd you get this for? Why'd you send it? Then we can knock that off the box and say, hey, had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. But if you find out who that dude was, and he said, Jeffrey Epstein paid me $20,000 to my kid if I sent this out, now you got it. But no, you don't have anything yet. This is not debunked until whomever sent it tells you what the fuck they sent it for. That's the way I would do an investigation. I'm sorry. I like facts too much. I don't like somebody just telling me some shit, and I don't trust you. You've lost the trust of the American people in my eyes, DOJ, FBI, and all that. So you got to go that extra mile and present that information. Fuck all these news organizations just believing you because y'all the homie. Nah, y'all ain't got no homie status with me. Fuck all that. Tell me the truth. I don't trust it. And then they came out with one right after that, right? I think, well, this one's at 3. I think this was the second one that came out from the DOJ. Now, here's the thing. Why are you struggling so hard to keep talking about this? Because what you're saying is not resonating with the people. Some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump. Watch President Trump. We're going to talk about it in a hot second. That were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false, and if they have a shred of credibility, they certainly would have been weaponized against President Trump already. See, this right here makes me distrust them 100% even more. And I'm already 100%. I don't know how I'm doing Trump math, 100% more. But this makes me really distrust them. Why? Because they're bringing up a faulty logic to justify the idea of why this is not true. If this were not true, if this were really true, it would have been weaponized. The DOJ, FBI, all that. You have to be a Trumper to believe that the DOJ, the FBI, and all that weaponized anything toward Donald Trump. They found Donald Trump to be guilty of shit he fucking did. It wasn't weaponized against him. He was found guilty of what it was done. So to tell me that if I see a crime and I charge a white dude who's rich for it, it's weaponizing it. But if I see a crime that a black guy, Latin guy, white woman did, and I go after her and put her in jail or whatever, I'm just doing the due process of the law and catching the criminal. But Donald Trump is weaponizing. That right there let me know the DOJ does not work for the people. They're working for Trump because they're talking about weaponization while they're weaponizing the government. They're putting people in jail for no reason, no justification. They're blowing up boats for no justification. They've got to start a war in Venezuela without no justification. Weaponizing against Letitia James and Comey and all this without any evidence, not a shred of evidence. And even the evidence that they have, Donald Trump has done it to the nth degree, the exact same thing, but you're not going toward them. So that tells me that you politicized it and you're going after people who aren't you. And the DOJ should be going after all people who are breaking laws if it's a law, not just Democrats. And even Susan Wiles literally said he's weaponizing the first 90 days and he could be done with it. He's still doing it. So there's no ambiguity here. There's no mystery. He's the one that's weaponizing the government while telling everybody else that he got weaponized against because he broke laws and literally got charged for it. And don't get it twisted. These mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC, all these different people, these pundits and shit, when Donald Trump was being charged with all this shit, every last one of these people, mostly white, We're trying to break down what Donald Trump did. Well, this one right here really isn't that bad. I mean, you really don't necessarily get charged that much for it. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? There are literally 1,000 people in jail for what Donald Trump did. Well, they really don't. No. And these are people who are Democrats or just law and order people. They were literally trying to, well, this case with the Fonnie Willis case was, it's not going to be that great, maybe. And then this was going to be their strongest case. Man, fuck all y'all. Y'all was sitting here trying your best to make some white dude that was rich less of a fucking criminal. Anybody that was Black, Latin, Asian did 1/1000th of what Trump did. You guys would have had their asses locked the fuck up. You wouldn't have been on the news talking about, well, it really isn't that bad. We only charged like maybe 1 out of 12, and you wouldn't have did that shit for nobody black. Don't give me that shit. And it's all of them across the board did that shit. While I was watching the news when this shit was going on with Donald Trump every day, I kept seeing one white person after a fucking another, literally trying to break down what Donald Trump did illegally to be not that bad of a crime. People do it often, and we don't really charge them for it. You just told us that you literally let white people go away with taking our fucking money, and it's okay that it's not over $500,000 or some crazy shit. But yet, though, you can have a poor person go steal a fucking sandwich or a loaf of fucking bread, and they're in jail and got a fucking name tag everywhere that they can't fucking go to another grocery store in the fucking neighborhood to feed their fucking family. But these fuckers can go around and steal all the fucking money in the fucking world, and you sit here and tell us, hey, we don't really charge the people who just, over half a million now. A fucking loaf of bread. Women, men, children are sitting in juvie or jail for it. Hundreds of millions of dollars and shit. Charged, we're overcharging them. He'll have to go to jail. Fuck y'all. This law shit, y'all keep on letting white people get away with the fucking most crimes. And then on top of that, not charging them for other ones. Where's the lie? Go steal a loaf of bread and see where your ass would be. So I'm sick of this. This right here let me know the DOJ is a piece of shit. When you literally says it's weaponizing, and if it was really true, they would have got him because remember, they were weaponizing. No, they weren't. We were pissed off at Merrick Garland for taking too fucking long. We thought it was a political game to begin with. We thought, most people, at least I thought, Merrick Garland should have worked fucking twice as fast as he did. It took him 2 years to figure out some shit that fucking could have took 2 months to figure the fuck out. They were trying their damnedest not to be political. When Donald Trump came in, he was trying his damnedest to give a fuck about being political. He was doing political shit from day one. The only reason why that man is free today is because Merrick Garland sat on his fucking thumbs and did nothing for years. He would be in jail right the fuck now. If it wasn't for Merrick Garland, fuck you, dude. I liked you when Obama was trying to get you in office, but when you went into being a judge, when you got in, you, Biden, y'all tried to be pussyfooting this shit around for too long. And now we got this bastard as a president because you guys were protecting a white guy. Don't get it twisted. It ain't got shit to do with Republican or Democrat. You was protecting a white guy. You looked at it and said, hey, he's just like us. He's crazy and all stuff like that, but I'm not going to do that because, they can get us for doing some of the same things that he did. That privilege shit. And here we are with this dipshit as president because you Democrats, or necessarily Democrats, I don't know what the fuck he is, but the office under the Democrats, you guys played this shit. I don't want to be political. Fuck all that. Fuck all the political shit. I want people to be held accountable. I don't care if you're Republican, independent, cat, dog, mouse. I don't give a fuck what you are. You break the law, you should be held accountable. Now, what your sentence is, that depends. But the thing is, if you got the same crime for a person of color getting 3 or 5 years and a white person going free, that's some bullshit. You shouldn't have that kind of leeway just to judge it on race. No, judge it on the crime. I said what I said. So then we got another response later. That came not too long ago, probably about, about, I think 3 hours ago, maybe, something like that. 3 hours to the exact time. I think it was 6:45 or something like that, which is East Coast time. Is 6:45 now. And this was Todd Blanche backing it up. Here it is again. We got the DOJ coming up with one excuse. A few hours later, coming up with a second excuse. Then here we go again. Todd Blanche, district attorney, whatever the fuck his position is, attorney general, right? Deputy attorney general. He comes out with one. The government's like on this tear to make Donald Trump like not guilty of this shit. I'm like, wait a minute, isn't that supposed to be like the evidence that proves that? But they out here, what did he say? There has been lots of sensationalism and even outright lies. How do you know they're lies? Because I thought you guys didn't know. I thought you went through this whole process. You need to go do the investigation, right? You're supposed to look through these and find out these documents literally have any kind of teeth. But instead, you took them away, and 2 hours later, you come back and say they were fake. But your justification for faking is not actually doing a full, thorough investigation of it or having documentation that says that the previous people who investigated have this document that says such and so did. You don't have that. You're just saying this came from here. Did you speak to the person? No, you didn't. So we don't know what things are fake or not. That's the point of this, is to get to the real fucking truth of who the fuck these people are. Right? It says after it says these past few days about the Epstein files. Let's separate fact from fiction. Document production is just that. We produce documents, and sometimes this can result in releasing fake or false documents because they simply are in our possession because the law requires this. Case in point, the so-called Epstein-Nasser letter. They're addressing the letter again. Now, somebody's actually at my door, dude. Give me a second. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Sorry. Sorry about that. Got a package. Anyway, we'll get back to it. So, mind me where I left off at. Going to get a package, coming back is not something I normally do. I think my girlfriend ordered something. But anyway, but what we're talking about, well, this particular documentation, I'll just start back over. With Jeffrey Epstein, it's saying that they've come out with the third document from the fucking federal government to try to explain away Donald Trump and these Nasser videos or letter. Now, I'm not quite understanding this. You only had to say it once. You only had to say it once, right? But you realize the way you did it, to say 2 hours later, first of all, you didn't have an answer for it. Then 2 hours later, you come back with an answer. Knowing you guys were scrambling, like, what the fuck we do? What do we do? What do we do? Fuck, it got through. What it got through? What do we do? What do we do? I don't know. Let's talk to a publicist. Let's talk to Susie Wiles. What do you think we should do? I don't know. Let's see what we can do. Wag the dog shit. Let's just deny it. Let's say it's fake. And then where'd it come from? Find a chain of events. Where'd it come from? They were scrambling to figure it out. because this is an investigation that should have been going on, or at least until Donald Trump, they canceled everything down. It was going on for what, 4 or 5 years? I think this should be heavily noted and documented what the hell is going on, right? We wouldn't be making this shit up last second. It wouldn't take you 2 hours to go, wait a minute, let me go look through this file over here and just comb through it. Let's say what the detective said this and the prosecutor said that. Oh, okay, this is exactly what happened. Print it out. That's what they had to look at it, and they do notes. It's not like they just say, that ain't nothing and move on. No, they write notes about every document. That's why you end up having so much fucking documentation. Have one file, but you may have to write a whole fucking like 38 pages about what's going on in this file. What did we do? We looked through every person and found out that this person was in Tokyo. This person was dead at the time. A lot of tedious shit. So years of information. They didn't immediately have it on notice. That right there was suspicious. You don't have this information documented immediately saying like, oh yeah, they got this document. This is what they thought about it, and they discounted it because it was this, that, and the third. Took you 2 hours to come up with this information. Should have been there. Should have been easy to find, correct? Wasn't that easy to find for them. It was easy for them to figure it out. It was even hard, I believe. I think they spent those 2 hours flipping out. We've been caught. Trying to figure it out. Just deny it, Donald Trump probably said. Come on, you know how I work. Just say it was a lie. Who cares? They'll just take it and eat it. MAGA, you know how to work. But he wouldn't leave it there. He's like, simply in our possession because the laws require this. Case in point, the so-called Nasser video is fake, or letter is clearly, it's not clearly anything. Clearly would mean you'd have to match it and let us know that it's fake. But you didn't do that. Wrong handwriting, wrong return address, and postmark 3 days after Epstein died. Fake videos of Epstein in his cell phone, his cell. Photos with no explanation, sensational tales and lies by random people. These are not reality. What do you mean they're not reality? We see it, therefore it is reality. Now, whether it is fact or fiction, that's a whole other story. And if it's fiction, who the fuck made it up? I can understand if this was AI and we didn't get this through you guys. It was just on the internet making it look like it got it from you. But no, fool, you released it. Are you telling me that the FBI went through getting files off of the internet? Through AI? Is it AI? No, it's not. It's actual documents. Somebody fucking wrote, a human, that you should have interviewed whoever the fuck that was. You saw the handwriting. You figured it out so quick that it wasn't Jeffrey Epstein. Then whose the fuck was it? You don't deny it by saying it wasn't him. Go find out whose it was. Because who knows? If you did detective work, you just might find out he hired somebody to write it, so therefore that was his insurance plan that didn't fucking work. That could have been it, right? Just the idea of me coming up with that off the top of the dome lets you know that you guys didn't do your job. That's too easy to figure out. Why didn't you discount that? Why wasn't that mentioned in here? Again, they want you to believe something by bullying you into believing it. Let's say it. You realize, I'm going to tell you something real quick. Here's the thing that I want you guys to understand, and politicians and people who try to get you to do things, the psychology of it, they say things 3 times. They say it, they say it, they say it. What do they do here? They literally came out to talk about just the Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump, Nasser thing, and they brought it up 3 times. DOJ, DOJ, Todd Blanche. They're going to keep repeating it in 3s. That's how they hypnotize people into believing the bullshit they say. They said it in 3s. The news took that shit to be, well, we can't really say it's true. We don't have the information. We can't really verify it or not verify it. So let's just stop talking about it. And that's how they work. Keep telling you there's something not there. It's like, yo, match it yourself. Do your own homework. Quit saying that just because of DOJ, you can't trust them. Look how much they're going through this to try and get people not to believe it. They're relying on the Democrats would have got them if it was true, so it's not true because you're working on. Since when do Republicans work on rely on the work of Democrats to exonerate them? That doesn't make any sense. They think Democrats are stupid and feckless, yet though because Democrats didn't go after you, then you're innocent. Nah, that can't be the reason why people stop. I'm not stopping. And hopefully there's investigative reporters out there that are not stopping either. If it wasn't Jeffrey Epstein, find out who the fuck it was. I truly believe it was him. But we'll see. Again, I think America is tired of fucking being lied to. People will try and find out more. Okay? The other thing that that gets you to as well, and I think I was saying this before I went to the door, is here's the thing. You notice how the DOJ, which is Pam Bondi, Todd Blanche, all came out, right, and said something immediately after Donald Trump were basically, in their mind, being attacked, right? And they had to do everything they can to protect their Lord and Savior, Donald Trump. Now, here's the problem. I want you guys to understand. Is that they may be attacked. They didn't do this when Clinton had these pictures up with him in a jacuzzi, in the pool, on the plane, standing next to a girl, I think, on the plane. Michael Jackson there with his kids, and Diana Ross there with her kid, and Bill Clinton there with all of them at some function. They didn't come out and say, now, these documents don't have the truth in it. Bill Clinton is not with any of these people being suspects and nothing like that. This, we just don't know who the lady is. They didn't clarify, did they? The DOJ didn't clarify that. They literally blacked out grown-ass people just so they can insinuate that Clinton did something wrong. And don't act like that ain't true. How many of you guys saw on social media, no matter what platforms you on, these MAGA-ites? See, it was your Democrats. It was President Clinton and this, that, and the other, and they were going off, going crazy. They had already justified it, and I was like, you know what? These things don't prove anything other than the fact that they were in the same vicinity as this dude. But these are the things that happen, and like they're blacking out people. You could tell that some of the people they blacked out were grown. One thing you can learn from people's age is their hands. Look at their hands and you'll tell. A young person has a different type of hand than an older person, right? So some of these people I knew were grown people, and I'm like, I don't know, what that's all about. But hey, they might have gotten attacked or hurt when they were younger, and now they're in their 20s or 30s. So I don't know what the whole deal is, right? But it turns out they're just covering up faces right after Donald Trump said, Bill Clinton's in these, and I want you guys to go after the Democrats that are in these documents. And then they release the documents and make Bill Clinton look guilty. There was no DOJ, Todd Blanche coming out and saying, you know what, these things make Bill Clinton look guilty, but in all honesty, it's just information. We don't know if these things to be true or fact or nothing. No, they tried their damnedest to implement him, to make him suspect. They said it before they released the documents. Then they released the documents and redacted people who weren't individuals who have been possible victims. They knew it. They knew Donald. They knew Michael Jackson's kids was never a victim. They knew that shit. They just did that to make it look like, hey, look, there are people who are victims around not only Michael Jackson, who's been accused of being with kids. Then you got Bill Clinton. Let's just cover up the kids because they were short as fuck. Let's cover up the kids and say, oh, look, they did that shit on purpose. They did not come out and try to make him look innocent in this process. They were riding hard with these MAGAs out here, literally making Clinton the villain. Let's push it on to Clinton. Leave me alone. Is what Donald Trump wanted to happen. He brought it out of his own mouth. Bill Clinton's in him. Then released him. And then as soon as you find a document that made Donald Trump a pedophile, none of it's real. None of it's real. None of it's real. It's just, and they not only does it make him look so fucking bad, it tells you that he was into little children. And every time you see these old documents of Donald Trump video, she's going to be my girlfriend in the next, how old are you? In the next 8 years or so. Right? Him talking about him liking his daughter. Him talking about that his daughter has always been voluptuous since she was a kid. Who thinks of their kid as voluptuous? Who thinks of their grown daughter as voluptuous? I mean, come on, y'all. What else do you fucking need? Do you need to have the actual footage of this man doing it to a child? I mean, come on. You don't talk like that to children or about children. And this man has done it his entire fucking life. And because of celebrity and because of money, because of this, people have been like letting this dude be out in the open, have this type of mentality of a pedophile and like, oh, it's just jokes. No, who the fuck jokes like that? I ain't never seen a comedian joke like that. I ain't never seen nobody joke like that. But you know what? The reason why I know Donald Trump's a pedo, this is the reason why I know. I've never shared this really with anybody. When I grew up, a family member of mine got raped by a man who was a pedophile. The person was 13 years old. It's a grown fucking ass man. Right? And because that grown ass man was around the family, came to barbecues and picnics and all that shit, he had the same mentality as Donald Trump. You can't do nothing to me. You can't touch me. Because he had money, because he had certain types of power in the community, nobody in the churches wanted to believe that this type of dude is who he was. That same mentality as Trump. I see it in him 100%. That's why I'm not one to be sitting here giving him fucking 85,000 chances to try and prove that he's not one. I see it in him. And when a 14-year-old person tells you not one, multiple, we have learned that there have been 2 or 3 14-year-olds that said one was said she got raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein at the same time, and that's the documentation that's in the police court, but a criminal court case or a court case. Another one said she was in a room with Tiffany when it happened. That's a second 14-year-old. How many do you have to fucking even believe that this dude could possibly be what people say he's going to be? This documentation proves it. And all they got to do is say, it's fake, and you automatically believe it? Fuck all that. I'm not boo-boo the fool. I see it. I saw it in this man every time. We would go to picnics or family reunions. This dude would be around knowing he couldn't get caught. Still saying the same types of things that was just weird about the girls and shit like that there. Oh, you find her to be attractive, don't you? I'm like, nah, I ain't into girls right now, man. I mean, girls got cooties. And oh, you know you like her. I'm like, no, dude, you was trying your best. As a kid, I realized it was creepy. As a teen, I realized he was still doing it. What he was doing was trying to get a young boy to look at the girl with him so he won't look as bad looking at the girls. Donald Trump looking at these 14-year-old girls naked. He owned a patent with children. Come on, y'all. How much do you need? How much do you need? Let's put it this way. How many of you guys would have your children stay at his home? I'm talking about MAGA. I know no brain having person is going to say yes. But MAGA, how many of you would let your 13, 14, 15, no, wait a minute, 10 to 16-year-old, he like him nubile, 10 to 16-year-old child stay overnight at Mar-a-Lago with him? How many would you let him do it? That's when you know you understand that he is one. You wouldn't put your kids around him, but you don't want to condemn him because you voted for him. That means you are complicit in a person that harmed children while you were out there getting mad at Clinton and all these people talking about they had Pizzagate and there was all this pedophilia going on in the basement of a pizza place that didn't even have a fucking basement. Turns out it was your group of people, and not just all men. They ain't gonna be Democrat, Independent, but the people that you were so close to was the main one. We don't have any documentation saying that Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein were closest friends for 15 years, minimum. We do have that coming out of Jeffrey Epstein's mouth. We do have that coming out of Donald Trump's mouth. We do have it coming out of people who knew them and saw them all the time. Some of these people said they saw Donald Trump at the house. And then we find out through these documentations as well that they released today, Donald Trump was on that plane a shit ton of times. I've never really been on a plane before, he says. Never been on a plane, he says. Never been to the island, never been on a plane. Here it is. The documentation of the investigator who investigated said Donald Trump was on that plane way more than he said he was. 8 times. One, he was on it with Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump just by themselves. That's it. The other one was Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump, and one 20-year-old girl. Why were 2 grown-ass men, Donald Trump married at the time, Jeffrey Epstein, be on a plane, and the only people on that roster is Donald Trump, the 20-year-old, and Jeffrey Epstein? Who's the 20-year-old? I don't want to know her personally. I just want to know, is she considered a victim? Oh, wait a minute. She's not a victim. That's right. They said she was a witness. They said she was a witness. Why were they on a plane with somebody who was a witness for the girls who were being who were victims? She was a witness. It was on the plane, just him and her, him, Donald Trump, and the girl. The girl is supposed to be a 20-year-old witness to what happened. Why y'all taking the witness on a plane trip? I don't understand it. That's what they said today, that she was a witness, a supposed witness. Do I have it? I think I got it. Hold on. Don't take my word for it. Don't be taking my word for Jack Dubu. Yeah, let's get it. I think this is it. Let's get to the fact talking here. Let's go.
Overnight, under pressure, the Department of Justice releasing thousands more Jeffrey Epstein files, the most substantial dump of documents so far.
Tips about President Trump's degree of involvement with Jeffrey Epstein.
Then this email mentioning President Trump from a federal prosecutor.
On a flight that Trump and Epstein were on?
A flight that Trump and Epstein were on.
Would be 2 possible witnesses in a Maxwell case?
In a Maxwell criminal case.
This group includes an awful lot of references to Trump in the paperwork.
See, then right here, they have Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet many more times than he previously said he had been on there. And then Trump is listed as a passenger on at least 8 flights between 1993 and 1996, including at least 4 flights on which Maxwell was also present. Now, if you see some of these flights with Jeffrey Epstein and Maxwell was a freak. I'm gonna tell you that right now. There's a photo on there. There's 1 or 2 in there where she's naked doing something, but you don't see it. Of course, it's blacked out. But one where she's massaging Jeffrey Epstein's feet, and some other dude is taking the pictures, and picture by picture, she starts to get undressed. You see her massaging the feet. Then you see his eyes kind of roll back, whatever, close his eyes, whatever. And then you go back to the picture and her shirt is off. And then, or halfway off. And then she's down to like a wife beater or something like that. And then her wife beater is pulled down. You can't see anything except for cleavage. And you can see this whole gradual thing. Somebody's taking a picture of it. Yeah, freaky. Why would you be recording this shit? Why would you be taking pictures of that? You're on the plane. So I don't know what they did on these planes, but we already knew prior to these documents coming out through Michael Wolff, who said that Jeffrey Epstein said that Melania met Donald Trump on his plane. And they did whoopee. I heard that term in a long time. They did Whoopi on the plane for the first time. Supposedly, Jeffrey Epstein told Michael Wolff. Huh. Oh, and she was a high price like prostitute. Yeah, paid for her. These people love the prostitute. Oh, she's like the prettiest president, the first lady, and she's just so regal. She's a hoe. You know she's a hoe. High price hoe at that. Ah, it's so funny. And they talked about Miss Obama. Okay? She has a degree. She's a lawyer, right? Smart, raised 2 kids. Michelle Obama, regal. Regal. You couldn't find no dirt on her. And Melania Trump's a high-priced hoe. And y'all up here, oh, we just love her. You guys are so terrible at picking people. This is what they call merit. They pick some dude who can't do anything, who's a dipshit, and a hoe to be their president and vice and first lady. That's just hilarious. Oh boy, can they pick them? Boy, can they pick them? Anyway, that you got to see, and this right here is as having traveled with others on this other one on one flight in 1993. He and Epstein are the only 2 listed passengers. On another, the only 3 passengers are Epstein, Trump, and then a 20-year-old, and that's the one that supposedly we heard on MS Now. Joe just say that he was on the plane with witnesses that were supposed to be in the case for people whom Epstein was considered to have, molested as children. And why is Donald Trump on that plane? I thought you had nothing to do with that, bro. Why you got a witness in the trial and you with Jeffrey Epstein on the same plane? That shit don't look good. You on the plane with a witness to the case. Yeah. These people know how to pick them. Sure know how to pick them. Oh, and this right here. Oh, this is the icing on the cake. Y'all, first of all, this woman coming up is one of the victims / survivors of Jeffrey Epstein. And don't ask me why, but hey, everybody has their own thing. She voted for Trump. Now, disclaimer, she doesn't remember ever seeing Donald Trump at these events, so she didn't think of him being one of them. But since, because she was even talking about, I'm for Donald Trump, I voted for him, president, release these files. But the way they've been releasing his files, she wants his head on a stick. It what it seems like. Let's get it.
I am no longer supporting this administration. I am so disgusted with this administration. I think that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel both need to resign, and I would love to see number 47 get impeached over this.
We went from, very happy, very excited, where we've reached somewhere, to now being very disappointed. It's come to the point where...
Sorry about that. Come to the point where she's just basically tired of all this. You can't trust them. But the one who was a voter was the first one. And she said she want him impeached. Voted to impeached. Now, and because she's a victim, I'm not going to sit here and go in, even though that's an isolated event and she chose this dude. I'm just going to leave it at that. But she doesn't want him anymore. Well, welcome to the club. We never wanted him, but it is what it is. So you get to see that Donald Trump is on a plane with a witness in the trial against Jeffrey Epstein and against Ghislaine Maxwell, I think it is, whatever it is. Was it Ghislaine Maxwell? Let's see. Let's go back and listen to that again. I don't want to get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. Joe said it at the very beginning. Let's try it again. Let's get it right. Get it right. Get it
Overnight,
right.
under pressure, the Department of Justice releasing thousands more Jeffrey Epstein files, the most substantial dump of documents so far.
Tips about President Trump's degree of involvement with Jeffrey Epstein.
Then this email mentioning President Trump from a federal prosecutor.
On a flight that Trump and Epstein were on?
Flight that Trump and Epstein were on.
Would be two possible witnesses in a Maxwell case?
Two possible witnesses in a Maxwell case were on the plane with Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. Why? It was Ghislaine Maxwell they was going after. Why would Trump be there, bruh? Why would you be there? In fact, it makes no sense because Donald Trump said that Jeffrey Epstein was stealing people, girls from Mar-a-Lago, and he got rid of this dude, right? He didn't want to have anything to do with him. But Ghislaine Maxwell trial? I mean, wasn't Ghislaine Maxwell trial like? Was she? When did she have another trial? I don't get that one. To be honest, was she on trial at the same time that Jeffrey Epstein was? And they just let her go? That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm trying to figure that one out because again, I deal in facts. And when she went on trial in 2019, he was dead. Or maybe he was, no, he went on trial in 2020. He got caught 2019. She got tried in 2021. He was dead at that time. Yeah, we got to check that one out there. I don't know. I don't understand that one at all. She must have been on trial before and they chose to not try her. Because I think there was a case. There was one where Donald Trump was supposed to also be a witness for her trial. She did have a previous one. I just don't know what year that was. She had a previous trial. Maybe it was around the same time that Jeffrey Epstein went to jail the first time. I got to look it up. If you know, let me know. Because that didn't make any sense right there just for a second. Like I said, I got to keep it factual, but right then, it kind of threw me because I was like, wait a minute, he was dead already. But no, there was a trial before. I just got to find out what year that was. So I'm not going to, I got to deal with facts. I'm not going to go into that part of it. But what they just said is that he was on a plane with Donald Trump and two possible witnesses in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. Why? I don't know. Is that the first trial, Randolph? She was also in that? She was wrapped up in that too? Yeah, I don't know. I'm a research that one. I don't want to jump in on it and say like I know, because like I don't. I just heard what they said, and I know she was on a plane with a 20-year-old. I don't know why these two were on a plane with a 20-year-old. I don't know, but anyway, it's just, and again, she's 20. She can do whatever she wants. I ain't saying that. I don't. But from what they made it seem like, she was a witness to something, and if she's a witness, that means they were witness tampering. Because you're not supposed to be around somebody who's going up against you or your girl. And we know we got that information about in a previous document how Jeffrey Epstein was telling Ghislaine Maxwell to just pay somebody off and it's just don't even worry about it. We'll just pay him off. He said that. So when she was going through something back in the day, he said, "Don't worry about it. We'll just pay him off." It's and that was recorded somehow. I don't know if it was on a document or if it was him saying it or an email. Maybe it was an email. I think it was an email. But yeah, so they ended up doing some crazy stuff. And again, Donald Trump, you was there. All you got to do is come out. Oh, we just went to Reno and had, whatever, Pinot and clarify it. But no, they're trying to act like it never happened. I'm like, dude, you can't just back out of shit that we know you was doing. You know what I'm saying? This is from the investigators. They investigated and they found that you was on the plane a lot. You said you was never on the plane, even though we found your name was on some of the manifest. But then you said Bill Clinton was on the manifest more. But you forgot to leave out that Bill Clinton, they used to go to a lot of functions overseas for humanitarian reasons. Remember, Bill Clinton had that humanitarian organization, still does, the Clinton Foundation, whatever. And they would travel all over the world, doing what they had to do, whether it was climate change, whatever. And these billionaires were supporting it. So I can see his situation. And here's the great thing about it. Again, I'm not vouching for Bill Clinton, but Bill Clinton's saying the right fucking things. He wrote out just like what Donald Trump should be saying. Release all the files. Shit. Tell them what I did. Everyone you got of me, release those bitches. I ain't got nothing to hide. Now that sounds like an innocent man. Let it go. Let it rip. I don't care. Make something up with AI if you want. I ain't did shit. That right there tells me that you feel like there ain't nothing on you. Now, I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm just saying he's acting like an innocent person. Donald Trump is acting guilty, hiding shit, and everybody got excuses. I ain't heard one excuse coming from Bill Clinton. I even saw a small clip. It wasn't that long of an interview of Chris Tucker saying, dude, we was on a humanitarian event to Africa at that time, which makes sense of the outfits that the shiny type of outfits that Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein were wearing, a silk type of thing. It makes sense. They were over there in Africa at some humanitarian event. It was not only them, it was Brett, what's his name? Radford, what's his last name? The director of the movie with Rush Hour. He was there. Brett Ratner. Chris Tucker was there, who was also in that movie. So it made sense when you started to see that when they were at places, you saw these like rooftops that seemed like they were in other countries. They weren't in America anywhere. So it made sense that they were on a vacation or vacation trips or going on trips around the world. Donald Trump just on a plane with a 20-year-old. Where's your excuse, bro? Don't want to give it. He acting like he was never there. Sir, you was there. And we know you was there. And they act like, this is the only thing that they got on Trump is this document with Epstein. You were with this dude, buddy. You said you weren't even cool with him like that. So that's why I got a problem with that. Here's one of was that the Todd Blanche? Yeah, that was Todd Blanche's response. This response right here is Donald Trump's response today. After all this shit, this man is playing an old record, but he has a little something to say when they ask him at this little press conference. And it appears as like, I think in a press conference, I didn't see this press conference, but because it has Rubio and Peter Hegseth next to him, I figured this press conference was about bombing of these boats and stealing their oil and shit like that. And that's probably where it started, but it led to them asking a question about what happened today. And this comes from the Beat. Ari Melber got off his show's clip, give him his respect for what he had. Let's get it.
Everybody was friendly with this guy, either friendly or not friendly, but he was around. He was all over Palm Beach and other places.
What the fuck is that? Either friendly or not friendly. Everybody was friendly with him. He was either friendly with him or not friendly with him. You know that's a crackhead way to speak. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I literally today, I was on the bus and I was driving. I wasn't driving nowhere. I was going to this location, and this girl gets on the bus and she was on something. She was on something. I don't know what she was. She was screaming the entire time, and she sounded like Trump. I promise you, she sounded like Trump. I was sitting there like, what the fuck is she on? Because whatever she's on, Trump got that shit in spades. But she was all over the place, just talking about a little bit of everything, life in general. And then I want to go to jail, and then over here and snakes. And I was like, what the fuck? It's like whatever she's doing. And I think she was doing fentanyl, because fentanyl, how you ever say it? Because she kept asking for more of it, just out of nowhere, just randomly said, give me some more of that fentanyl. She reminded me, if you ever see, and it's sad, don't get me wrong, but she reminded me, honestly, of In Living Color, where you had when they had the restaurant, and not Damon Wayans, but the other guy, David Allen Greer, and he's like, he would just yell out random shit in the restaurant, and I'll never forget one line that fool said. He said, just out of nowhere, he said, I picked my boogers because they told me to. That, you gotta go check that out. That's reminding me of her. Definitely reminds me of Donald Trump. Just randomly just say shit. Everybody was cool with him, or either that, they weren't cool with him. It's just weird. Listen to it again. Replay. Remix.
Everybody was friendly with this guy, either friendly or not friendly, but he was around. He was all over Palm Beach and other places. This whole thing is with Epstein is a way of trying to deflect from the tremendous success that the Republican Party has. They're asking me questions about Jeffrey Epstein. I thought that was finished.
Why would you think that Jeffrey Epstein was finished when you're releasing files of Jeffrey Epstein? This isn't a month ago. This shit was Monday. Today is Tuesday. You release files on the 19th. Why is it on the 22nd you think Jeffrey Epstein is over when you just released files of Jeffrey Epstein? And the day before this, he came out and was asked a question about Bill Clinton being in it all over the place. And he's like, well, you know, there's a lot of people in them and blah, 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 Jeffrey Epstein. And the next day, I thought it was over. Are you okay? We know you're not. But MAGA, is your boy okay? Whose man's is this? This dude is literally out here talking about, hey, he was cool with me, but he's not cool with everybody. He was purple, now he's green. I mean, what the fuck are you talking about? It just makes no sense. Everybody was cool with him, unless they weren't cool with him. Oh, this is the president. The dude whose brain just disconnects. This fool. And here's another thing. There's so many different diagnoses of what he has. It's just insane. I can't keep up with it. Every day I see somebody talking about, I'm a physician. I know this. And then Donald Trump has frontal lobe, whatever, lobe tube, whatever the fuck it is, brain damage. I was in there like, he had a stroke. He had this. I'm like, why don't you just depict this day that God, or not God, the demons are going to come and take their little serpent home? When are you going to pick that date? I don't give a damn about his diseases. I just want you to pick the date in which the little demons come up out the ground with their horns and shit and talons and snatch his ass out. That's what I'm looking for. Whenever that day's coming, then I'll listen to you. Other than that, shut the fuck up. I want to hear all that shit. If he ain't gone in 4 to 6 months, I want my time back from listening to your crap. You know who you are. I want my time back. All right. Now, outside of this right here, what has happened in the last few days? 60 Minutes was supposed to air their episode about CCOT, where they sent the Venezuelan people, whom turns out to be not really that many of them were criminals, which we're going to go over that in a hot second. But they ended up, the head of CBS, you know how Paramount and all that, and they bought it up, and Skydance and all that. So Donald Trump's one of his closest billionaire friends, the head of it, who was hired, who's a conservative, I think her last name is Weiss or something like that. She took it down. It was supposed to air, and she wanted Stephen Miller to look at it before, or at least comment on it beforehand. And because he didn't get back to her, supposedly, she took it down indefinitely until he did. Now, each one of us with a brain, or at least is older than a sperm cell, has heard the phrase, we reached out to the White House and they had no response. Back to you in the booth. We've all heard that. They've aired shit before without getting the White House to speak on it, because the White House was approached and you chose not to speak on it. That did not cancel any of their episodes ever in the history of 60 Minutes and CBS. So something that's never really happened unless it went through a process that they do, but they didn't go through this process. They had this stuff checked from here to, Timbuktu. It was cleared. And then the head of CBS literally said, nope. But then, I don't know how many of y'all, like myself, who was resourceful. I went and got it. They released it overseas. And overseas, released it on YouTube. I didn't get a chance to see it on YouTube. I went to like Reddit. And Reddit, after about 7 of them that took it down, because I think they took the exact loop from YouTube, and YouTube took it down, it was gone. These people downloaded it and put it on their own server, their own whatever system, and they loaded it onto Reddit. And I went and watched it, about 13 minutes worth of stuff. I can't show it because I don't want them trying to sue me. They can do what they want, but they ain't getting nothing. But I'm just gonna give you some tidbits if you haven't seen it. So there's on this 60-minute, which is 13 minutes or so, the reporter finds out that, first of all, she has one main kid that she's talking to, a young Venezuelan guy. And he talks about his personal experience. Now, his own personal experience, things he saw with his own eyes, is that these people were getting beaten every day. Him personally taken into a room and 4, not 1. You should see it. He's a little kid. I mean, he's probably, I would say, a $130. You know what I'm saying? That's all. He's like, it's a kid, right? Maybe $150, but and they take him into a room. 4 guards beat him to a pulp. One of them threw his head into the wall and broke his tooth. This is his story, his journey, what happened with him. He was never a criminal, don't have no crime, don't have no records, nothing. He had tattoos. In this documentation, this piece that she did, this reporter, not bringing out her name because I'm not trying to get anybody any kind of problems, but she validated what we said. The information that we had here on Straight Facts, No Chaser, Trinidad Aragua doesn't have tattoos. So why did Donald Trump and his people have tattoos as one of the main things that can get these people? They didn't have tattoos. Other gangs, which they're trying to blend in with other gangs do, but not Trinidad Aragua. She validated that when she got the information from a valid source. So we were right. Our sources that we found were right compared to what 60 Minutes found. Turns out that 48.8% of these men did not have a criminal history whatsoever. And only 8 of the men, over 260 or something like that, men, only 8 of them had any kind of have been convicted of a violent or potential violent offense. The others had offenses that were pending, which were more likely them being immigrants in this country, which Donald Trump was calling a crime, which is really a misdemeanor, and it doesn't do anything. You don't even go to jail for it or nothing. But they try to make it seem like they were criminals just being here, and they were documented, or they were not illegal, they were undocumented or going through the process of being a citizen in this country. So they tortured. Now, not my words, not the lady who's doing the reporting words, the human rights organizations, both in Venezuela and in world organization type of situation, they did their investigation and found out that what was going on with these men, the exact wording was, let me look it up here. They said that they were systematically tortured and abused. Now think about this. You never committed a crime. Your only crime is being Venezuelan, not white, but Venezuelan. There is nothing to prove that you've done anything but tattoos, and the gang they want you to belong to is a gang that does not have tattoos. And voila, it tells you right there that Donald Trump, these MAGA minions, are harming Latin people for no fucking reason. And that's the reason why she didn't want this to air, because who is a person that's been fighting for this to happen the hardest, wanted this to happen to people of color? He wants it to be a white nation. That would be Stephen Miller, this racist little Nazi tyrant, Napoleon-esque type bastard. Him. She wanted to talk to the racist Nazi dude to see if he had any words to say before they expose him for who the fuck he is. A racist that is harming our American citizens. Some of them were American citizens. Other ones were trying to be American citizens. And other people were here as undocumented. thinking that this country was a place that everybody, they want to go to and be this wonderful world. And no, they got treated horrifically. Now, what is America going to do? We're going to stand up for people who are being treated unfairly, or we're going to allow these racist people in our society to take over and be here fucking over these people for no reason, just because they feel like they aren't smart enough, that they got to weed out people of color that are smarter than them, that are more talented than them. At least that's what they believe, because they're not putting their best foot forward. They want to attack other people that love this country and want to make it the best. And they're tired of these people making this country the best, because it shows them to be the worst of us and not the best of us. They're not the supreme, they're the inferior, the ones who are wanting everybody to leave. You can't make it. You can't muster being, mediocre amongst people who are trying to be brilliant. So you're trying to get rid of people who are coming here fighting for this country. You just want to destroy it so that you can become popular again through means of hatred. Yeah, Rude. I heard Cory Booker put it out too, but that was later on after I found it. But you can go ahead. Now that it's aired, I don't know exactly. They're suing people and stuff like that to take it down and all that, whatever. But I've seen it. You guys go and check it out if you can. You'll understand it. And even more like egregious shit. Yo, Christy, like I said this, but she validated by actually going and doing the homework and going to the, or at least having people undercover do investigations of this place. Because you can take tours of this place. They had like right-wing influencers that they allowed to come into this jail to like take pictures of all the crap they're doing to people, and they were so proud of their little dark room. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, they put these men, the torture they did to them. Let me give you one example of the torture they did. They would make them stand or sit on their knees for like the entire fucking day, like 24 fucking hours, just all day long. And if you couldn't handle it no more and got up, they would take you to, I forgot what they call it, but it was a dark room, kind of like solitaire, right? Or is it solitary? Solitary confinement, solitary. It's kind of like solitary. But the bed is concrete. There's no light. Hot, damp. You don't know how long you're going to be in there. And you can't see your hand in front of your face, but there's a toilet. So how do you know how to use where the toilet's at? You got to find it by trying to figure out where it's at. Torture. You're in there for Lord knows how long. And the only water they had to drink was the water that they bathed with or the water that they used the bathroom with. The toilet water. Toilet water or shower water. That's all you had to drink. And all they did was wake up Venezuelan. And the percentage of Venezuelan, like they said, of them being the gang Trinidad Aragua being in America is infinitesimal. So it's not true. This was all a gimmick to demonize Venezuelans, to get them back for taking oil away from America, to demonize them, and then later to go kill them. America, do you know who's running your country? These are not good people. These are not patriots. These are evil human beings. Evil. Pure evil. There ain't nothing good about them. You demonize an entire race, lied about them, called them criminals, tortured them, make them drink fucking toilet water. 4 months later, they get to come back to wherever the hell country they're going to go to and get out of prison. We paid millions of American dollars, taxpayer dollars, to keep them in a prison when they never fucking committed a crime. No due process. Now you don't got it into the mind of these racist Americans, no matter what race you may be, you hating on Venezuelans, these MAGAs. Now you hate their guts. Now I don't dehumanize them. I turn them into like fucking just product. Just thinking about them is thinking about a rat or something that you have no problem dying tomorrow, a roach. Now you dehumanize them. Then they go over to Venezuela and they're blowing them the fuck up, and you ain't got no smoke. You got the same hatred that they built off of first tier of hatred. Demonize them. Second, torture them. Third, kill them. Fourth, take over their country or take over their oil. Fifth, take the head dude out, kill the leader. Sixth, take over the country. They've taken each step, and America's been sitting there just, the racist ones will be like, yeah. They don't even see the big picture. Each phase just has them agreeing to it. And then to what? To killing Venezuelans for something they did nothing to us for. They took over their own oil. Whoa, Lord. Tell me that if you own your home right now, right? And I was saying, you know what, let me rent your backyard for a minute. I'm digging for some stuff. Let me rent your backyard, some minerals back there. I'm going to dig for it. All right, cool. I'm digging for a few years, paying you your money, and we got a contract for so long, but I got a clause in that contract saying this is my property. At any given time, I can stop. And I choose, you know what? Ixnay on the property, yay. Nah, y'all just taking the soil from it. My trees dying. My house water is kind of all muddy. No, we good. Y'all done. And I kick you off my property. That's like you coming back and killing people in my fucking family because I kicked you off my fucking property. It's my property, bitch. What the fuck you doing? That's exactly what Donald Trump is doing. They kicked us off the property because they didn't want us taking their oil. They wanted to use their oil to help their country, to make Venezuela great again. Just like America wants to make America great again. And you're trying to punish them for wanting their country to be great and saying, we want that oil. It's our oil. No, it's not. So you're going to kill me on my own property because you're greedy. I don't owe you shit. This is my country. This is my land. Stay on your own fucking land. Produce your own fucking oil. Buy mine if I want you to have it, but you don't have the rights to come to my fucking country. And then he's going to talk about, well, we had that deal and they just kicked us out. Dude, not that long ago. That shit was 20, 30 years ago. Not that fucking long ago. We've already settled this. This man is trying to drum up some shit that happened 20, 30 years ago. Again, that's like going to a girl that you used to date 30 years ago. She married with children. You're going to snatch her ass up and take her back to your house. Like, what the fuck? Man, we were together 20, 30 years ago. Get the fuck away from me. You don't own me. That's what Donald Trump is doing, trying to snatch somebody from a deal that has already been gone and over for 20 to 30 years. It's a wrap. You can't come back on a deal. You want to make a deal? Then meet with the president or whomever and make a deal again. You just don't go killing their people and then torturing people and then making them, demonizing them all over the fucking world, putting them in prisons, and then all of a sudden say, well, let me steal your oil tanks. America, how are we a good country when we got this bastard doing this to people? Last I checked, when Biden was president, we were the #1 oil producing country in the world. We were #1. So why the fuck we going over killing people for theirs? And acting like it's okay. How can this be a great country when you fuck with other people when we don't even need their resources? You're just being greedy. And they don't even justify why they're doing it. They don't even get America behind it. Like, this is what we need to do to make America great. We need these resources, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to go spend so much money over in Venezuela and get some oil, make a deal with them. No. They don't tell you why they're doing it. They lie to you the entire way. Demonize this group. You ever wonder why in the hell we started hating on Venezuelans out of no fucking where? Nobody even thought about a Venezuelan, Mexican, white, Latin. We didn't think nothing about hating on nobody just for an entire group of people. I hated black people forever, but that's not the point. But we weren't talking about that. Then out of nowhere, Venezuelans. I'm like, what the fuck? We're the Venezuelan gang. What gang? What's the name of it? Trinidad and Nicaragua. How many of you ever heard of that shit? Don't lie. None of you. So they take somebody that's extremely not even present in this country, so minuscule, you've never heard of the fucking gang. I don't heard of the Bloods and the Crips and the MS-13 and the Asian gangs and some of these white gangs in some of these suburb areas and in the country and shit. I don't heard of all them. I ain't heard of Trinidad and Tobago ever. And somehow they're the worst thing on the planet. I call bullshit. They found a minority that nobody knew anything about. Nobody knows what type of presence Venezuelans are in this country whatsoever. They chose it because Maduro is Venezuelan. They want Venezuelan oil. We got to be able to take that shit, and the only way we're going to do it is to be able to demonize them in America so that Americans start to hate them, and then we'll start killing them off, and America won't flinch. And then we'll start taking their oil, and they'll never see it coming that was our first plan to begin with. And then we're going to try and kill him and take his land or whatever it is, the oil properties, and we're going to get it all back because we feel aggrieved that they stopped allowing us to take their oil. If you ain't going to let us, we're going to take it. That's the country you belong to. Bullies. And then you start to hear pundits and shit who say they don't like Trump start saying, well, Maduro is a bad guy. We probably do need to take him out. Oh, now you're justifying it. Now you're okay with it. These people are dying. And it's like, dude, this game that people get played with. I'm like, are you guys that simple? Is the brain that so easy to be tampered with that you can literally start hating somebody that you didn't even know anything about? I guarantee you, most of these racist ass white people had no idea what the fuck a Venezuelan was. Don't know what the fuck, don't know where it is on the map, have no fucking clue. They're so fucking simpish to be told who to hate just because they're not white. Never mind the fact that they allow them to check white on the census. They've helped them have power in this country by checking white. Light-skinned Latin people. I'm white. I'm white. I'm white. That gives them more money, white people, via the census, to call these Latin people white. That's why they say non-Hispanic white or Hispanic white. It's, boy, the idiocy is thick. And you sit there like, dude, it's not hard. You don't have to be a genius. You just have to think. Ask yourself, MAGA and others, why do you hate Venezuelans when they've never done anything to you? They'll bring up saying, oh, look, there's a Venezuelan person that killed a white girl. I'm like, yeah, but you know how many white guys don't kill a white girl this week, let alone this month or this year? Yeah. Are you mad at white dudes for that? No. Okay, then shut the fuck up. Crazy. All right. The other, let's see if I had anything. Oh, let's talk about Christy Noel. And last thing I'm really going to just talk about is this. Look, I had a conversation with a young guy. I say young. Oh, today's my birthday, by the way. Some people already said happy birthday to me. I turned double nickels today. I'm going to call myself double nickels all year. But anyway, it's crazy, how easy it is to get people to hate. I spoke to a young guy, younger than me. I would say he's in his 30s. He wasn't about hate. We were talking about solutions, really, right? Like, how do we solve these problems that this country has? And Avid Solutionists is the other thing that we'll be doing at the beginning of the year about solving problems, because we talk about the problems here. It's enough to talk about. It's not enough just to talk about them. We got to start working on solutions and strategies in order implementing them to make the world a better place. And so we were talking about that, me and this young guy. And I'm starting to realize that the younger generation behind me, the ones who are even in their 30s, they're so disillusioned by the system. And I don't know what's happening, but I know that they can't stand capitalism at all. And again, I got asked a question, what is capitalism? Thank you, Nina. I said, thank you, Mike. I said, what is capitalism to you? Thank you, Summer Love. And they go into this deep, dark area of what capitalism is. And I say, you do understand that capitalism is literally just supply and demand, right? I get the supply, you demand it, and then you can make as much money how much you supply and demand, right? You get to make your life for yourself. I said, now, the problem we have in this country is that we have people running against a system that is too easily defended. So what I mean by that is, if we have capitalism, whereas you work, right, and you get paid for your work, and whatever you like, if you are a salesperson, you have a supply. You have the supply and demand situation. There's only so many products, and you got to sell them to make your money. Now, what if, like the people were talking about the socialist type of thing, you get a salary and then you work, but what if you made so much money from the sales and you got to do like a waitress and share it with all your employees? Are you going to like that? Hell no. You're not going to like that. You bust your ass, and then at the end of the day, you sold 500, she sold 100, you sold 300, you add it all together and divide it by 3. You're going to be like, I got 500. The fuck you talking about divided by 3? You ain't going to get Americans wanting to get down on that road. That just ain't going to be a thing. And I understand people's anger toward things, but I was like, you got to have strategies and solutions. It's okay to vent, but get in the lab and come up with a strategy, not a hope and a prayer, a strategy. And what I tried to explain, and I understand where he was coming from, but what I tried to explain was this. Capitalism works if you extract the greed. And people can't see that you can't extract the greed. You can. I extract the fucking greed. Okay? If I can do it, I'm not Superman. I can do it because I realize the more we help, the more money we make. If I'm helping you instead of fucking you, you want to ride with me. But if I'm fucking you, you're going to buy from me one time and be fuck off the next time. That means I got to work twice as hard the next time I want to sell. I learned this in every type of sales job I had. I sold cars for a minute. I couldn't stand selling cars the way people sold them, the way they taught you. And I sold more cars than everybody else without any help by just telling the fucking truth. Somebody came to me and said, hey, I like this, Ford Explorer type of blah, blah, blah. Well, not Ford, we had Jeeps, stuff like that. And I'm saying, I like this particular Jeep, blah, blah, blah. And I'm saying, it's a used Jeep. It gets about this mileage, blah, 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 blah. And they ask me questions, and I'm supposed to like just give them the positives. I'm like, nah, bro, that right there, nah, don't get that one. There's one over there, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever, right? To give them the best freaking deal. Soon as they got the best freaking deal and they knew I didn't finagle them and treat them disrespectfully, every time they came to get a car, they sent friends. Is Drew there? And then they're like, no, they ain't here today. He coming back on Wednesday, but I can sell you something. Nah, we good. They would live 50, 60 miles away from this place. We good. And then when they come back, they would tell me, that dude over there, and they would rat him out. That dude over there tried to take your deal. I know him now. Yeah, I got his name, Chad. Yeah, I got him. I got another dude that's coming by. I'm going to tell him to stay clear, Chad. That was simple. They love the fact that I treated them with respect. When you out here trying to rob people left and right, they get that feeling. They understand you ain't for them. They don't want to have shit to do with you. But you chasing and grinding for that cash, you need to be chasing and grinding for that respect of the people, because what you're trying to do in anything, when you're trying to eat, it ain't about grinding so hard you're taking from everybody else. It's about doing good for others so that they come back. If you have a pleasant experience, you're going to tell, I had a good experience. That's why I hated car dealerships, because they used to drive me fucking nuts. But I went in and brother had to do what he had to do. I started selling like crazy. And they was like, what are you doing? How do you do that? I'm like, I'm just doing what y'all told me to do. I lied. I lied, but I'm telling you what to do because they would have fired me if they had known I was telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing when I was trying to tell this person, I'm like, you have to realize if you do capitalism, but you do it for the many and not the few. If I help you get something, you're gonna come back. I mean, if you're not, you boo-boo the fool, because if I'm sitting there doing something that's making you money, you should be coming back because I'm doing it for you and myself, and we all rising together. You want to do it on your own, go for it. But nobody makes it on their own. Everybody makes it with other people. And the sooner you start to understand that in order to become wealthy or wealthier than what you are or richer than what you are, you have to help somebody in front of you get higher and you rise with them. Just like if you're rich, the people under you are making good money because they're under a rich person or a person going places that is taking them to new heights and you're lifting them up too. It's just that simple. If you're both down at the bottom jumping on top of each other, the height limit is low. Because every time you get 2 steps up, the person behind you is snatching it out from under you. They're not building on top of each other. You got to rise on somebody's shoulders, and then they can rise on yours. So that's what I was trying to teach him. Not teach him, but just tell him about it. But he's disillusioned by it. These 30-year-olds, 20, they're so disillusioned by the system. They want to tear it down. And I say, you know what? That type of saying what your grandmother used to say, you can catch more flies with honey than you can with vinegar. It's like, look, you can't go in trying to destroy a system and think you're going to get ahead of that system or at least survive in that system. That's why they're so excited about Mandani, is like, because he's saying he's a democratic socialist. And that's fine. But the idea that how much they went against this man because of that term and how much that he won, but watch how hard these Republicans and Democrats fight so that whatever he promised never comes to fruition. He's going to be fighting uphill like crazy. And I say to him, I said, look, quit letting the people know that you're working against them. And you'll go further when you actually just do what it is to make everything good. So, for instance, I say I do capitalism for the people. So when I tell you I deal with capitalism, people who are capitalists and stuff like that, they have no smoke for me. When I say if I was Netflix right now and I had a fee of $10 per user per month, whatever, and I got 300 million people. In America, we got 340 million. So I got in the United States, let's say I got 100 million people with this $10 a month. I'm making billions of dollars a month. What am I doing with my money? You don't know. So if I take my millions and billions of dollars and start building economic centers for the people and start building industries for the people, I am accomplishing what you call yourself to be a democratic socialist. But you're begging a capitalist system to help you do democratic socialist shit. That's the struggle. That's the fight. I said, why are you trying to fight when you can win by acting like you're still with them? You still love capitalism. You want to buy something, profit, whatever. But you got to do it in a way that you have less friction. And you're going in with the friction. And you're going to lose every time. You're going to be a gray old man talking about, we got to fight. You got to fight once I get my strength back. I'm like, yeah, because you keep on fighting against something that the majority of people want. They just want the system to work because it can. The promise of it can. It's just greed destroys it. So once the people stop buying into the system the way it is, that's when it changes. The people have the power. You stop buying Gucci, you stop buying whatever type of car, whatever type of homes, whatever brand this, these fools will start changing. And if they don't, and you start investing in other people who are trying to create things that are for the people and not just for the billionaires, and when you buy, everybody wins, then you effectively have changed capitalism for the many and not the few. The old way doesn't work, but it's still capitalism. It's the mind of the people that changes. You change from greed You change from that me mentality, you change to we mentality. And then we start to grow. We start building industries in each country, each state. So therefore we can have living wage jobs. You really have to be active as a people wanting it and stop relying on greedy ass billionaires to do it. They're the model that they have set for rich people. And we follow it to a T. It's time we break away from that and follow people who are trying to get rich to help the people, and you'll see the system change. But until you give the people who really give a fuck the power, it's going to remain the same. And these people who are 30 and 20 are going to be disillusioned, thinking that if you just burn it all down, it's just going to be great. Nope. Burn it all down. The people are still going to think the same. But if you show them that it can work a different way for the people, for the we and not the me, once it starts working, they ain't going to want to go nowhere else. Why would I go back to that shit over there where I get paid a little bit of nothing when this right here pays me more than what I'm worth and I can buy a house? And it's still capitalism. Why would you do that? You wouldn't. But it's kind of hard to get people to see that, to feel that, because they're so disillusioned, so angry. And I get it. I'm angry too. But I realize at some point in time, you got to think of solutions. And you can't think of a great solution when you're angry. When you're angry, you come up with stupid shit, like fighting. But when you step out of that anger and start thinking, putting love in your heart when you have a solution, how can I help people? How can I make life better for people, not only for my family, but for other families? How can I help the we? That's when you come in with inclusive solutions. And that's when you can change the world the way we all want it to be. If we just focus on one thing, let's say we want living wage jobs, we can focus on that and figure how we can do that and create solutions. And that can help grow a lot of things. Healthcare, one thing at a time that all of us want. And we can be able to make this place a better place. Now, that's what I'm doing with Avid Solutions. You'll see some of these plans that I've come up with, and they're all for brain, it's called basically being able to put our brains together and make things work, right? We have a process, and you've probably seen it before, where you just have people of different levels of life experiences, and they offer it up. We've always waited when we were younger for these mentors, these older people who have been successful in certain areas to give the keys to life. And far too long we've had that happen where they only gave it to their siblings or to their friends and to their friends of the siblings. And it's like, you should give it to people who are starving for it. And if people are asking, it should be given to them so that they can move instead of always staying behind. That's what causes this anger and this division. And if we can unite around issues that we all want, living wage jobs, health care, these things can be solved. But we got billionaires on the left and the right who literally, and the middle, I'm sure, who literally want to control the population the way they see fit. Neither one of them are for the we fully. They're only for giving the we a little bit. And they keep that me shit going. If they cared about the we, they would pay us a living wage and still be rich. They care about themselves. They're astronomically rich and people are more poor. That's when you realize the system's not working for us and that the people have got to step up and start working to win. All right? You can check out Avid Solutionist on YouTube. Go follow it. I haven't put any content up, still developing everything. Also on TikTok. It's one word, Avid, A-V-I-D, Solutionist, is solution with I-S-T at the end, all one word. And, so we can be able to pop it up at the beginning of the year. I need 1,000, I believe, followers on YouTube, on TikTok to be able to go live. I believe that's what it is still. And then here on YouTube, you can go follow that as well. I can go live, I think, immediately on YouTube. So we're going to go live with solutions and education about history and why people came up with solutions in the past. And that's fun and interesting for me. what type of issues had to be happening for people to come up with the solutions in their era, and what things we're facing today and how we can solve the problems of our particular era. So, and our kids' future. So I can't wait to do that and have a productive area where we're talking about solving these problems that we talk about here on Straight Facts. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's about time to get up out of here. It's always my pleasure to do this. Sorry, I was not feeling well yesterday, but I'm here. TikTok for kids, what's that? Woke Mike Sandon. Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate you. Happiest birthdays. Thank you, Woke Mike and DJ. Rather, I appreciate that. We're about to get out. You guys have a great day. New Year's Eve tomorrow. Happy holidays. I know some of you guys are probably off until the new year, maybe. So happy New Year. I don't know what I'm going to be on or not. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be on tomorrow, New Year's Eve and Christmas. New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve and Christmas I won't be on. If I do, I'll just pop in, say something or whatever. But you guys enjoy it with your family, your turkey, your pizza, whatever you got going on. Enjoy it. Be with your loved ones. Watch a Christmas movie, eggnog and all that. And we'll chat after the holidays. All right? Much love to y'all. I'll see y'all probably after Christmas and see what happens. But until then, y'all, I'll see you when I see you. Take care.